I think what an episode such as this one does for me is it reminds me of that saying about how it's better to leave the readers, the viewers, the game players wanting more than to give them more and not live up to future expectations, right? Because here's the thing, you could very much argue a season 2 slice of life very similar to the first, say, half of this first season here, with maybe a building romance between our favorite demon queen and our favorite hero who now is finally free of his burden. It most likely would be a great anime season. But one thing's guaranteed, is that if they left it off here, it's completely satisfying. Because Leo's someone who's probably going to live another 3,000 years before potentially having anything that could kill him pop up. Yes, those 3,000 years are probably going to be a lot better than his previous 3,000 years. But one thing's guaranteed if episode 12 is all we get of this anime, that it's a good stopping point. In fact, I would argue it's the perfect ending. It's hopeful, it's optimistic. You know there's going to be years and centuries of amazing adventures he'll have, but one thing's guaranteed, we can leave off feeling good that Leo will be able to find his answer someday. And if they deliver a season 2 someday, I will gladly watch. Hell, I'll gladly review because I love this cast of characters. But I can't lie and say this does feel like a perfect stopping point, and it's hard to imagine them ever topping an ending in terms of something like this. We'll wait and see. I do know there is a little bit more material out there. I'm not sure if it's a completed light novel or something that got put on hold because the author went and did other things. Either way, I believe there is another arc worth of content, so maybe they will deliver it. I guess only time will tell. Though, I love how throughout all the videos, all the different theories I've read, all the different speculation, not one of us thought about turning it off and turning it back on, because you don't think about it that way, right? You know, something's broke, have you ever just tried flipping it on and off again? And sometimes that can literally fix it, because it's very easy to look at Leo as a person, despite being a creation. You know, he functions like a person, so when he says there's no other way, and we see in the prior episodes, you know, him literally one moment away from launching essentially an army of themselves against humanity just so he can protect humanity. Like, we believe there's no other option other than death. I mean, I think between what I was seeing a lot of people speculate, the way we thought he was going to live was that they would turn him human somehow. Maybe they would rip the Philosopher's Stone out, there'd be a magic that could maybe heal him, give him a heart. Like, that seemed like the likely scenario. We didn't even consider the fact that he's essentially a machine. Why doesn't he just try turning off the programming? Has he ever attempted? And I think there could be some pushback from some people just based on previous anime I've seen in terms of similar ideas of a very easy solution that why didn't anyone think of it sooner? But I think it makes sense given he was created for one task, and yes, he developed this ego, this personality, but because he was so convinced it was his programming, the idea of just telling that voice to stop is something he never considered because the one person who truly influenced his life to break free is long dead. Sure, if he was still around, he probably would have, told Leo a similar thing. But I like the fact in those 300-second countdown, everyone's like, you're an idiot. You clearly don't want to die, and if you have to die, we will do it, but there's gotta be an answer. There's gotta be a different solution. And I love how, like, our favorite demon queen over here is just like, I'm not gonna be your little messenger. I'm not gonna work with the dirty humans. You know, she's just really trying to sink it into his mind that he still has a purpose. That despite this selfless sacrifice, he is without a doubt a hero. And I like seeing the voice just really annoy him when he's trying to turn it off. And the simple idea of it was that easy, but because how the hell would a machine, something created for one purpose to protect humanity, who's been alone for thousands of years, consider the possibility that he could just tell himself to turn it off? Because he essentially developed into a person, he now has that ability to flip it off, which is such an amazing solution that doesn't feel like a backstab in my opinion, but rather something that feels believable given everything we've learned about this world and technology and things like that. And I think that's what makes the Aftermath so special, is that, seeing all the different people after their night of drinking, Murde's getting dragged back to the cafe there, and he's like, bro, I quit, and she's like, yeah, we can talk about that later. And just all the different conundrums that will pop up, right? It's just amazing to see how they were perfectly able to end it in an open-ended fashion where, yes, she didn't end up with the Philosopher's Stone, but she ended up with something arguably much better. That yes, the portal will close and a lot of shit will go wrong, But ultimately, because of Leo, they might be able to get that ambassador that will be able to bridge the gap between demons and humans, and the Philosopher's Stone that's on human side might be able to come, or at the very least be loaned to them eventually over time. It could take multiple seasons worth of content to ever get to that point. So for me, that's why I'm really good with it ending here, because there's no way to perfectly give 1,000 episodes of the amount of content's worth of time this man will live through before his eventual death or retirement, right? So I'm very okay with leaving it off here and almost giving my own headcanon of where it could go from here, because it does feel like such a good stopping point, all things considered. But that said, if they did confirm another season, I'd be more than okay watching a slice of life kind of romance sort of season, because they very much are hinting at the fact that there's a little chemistry brewing between these two, and I'd love to see maybe that as well. But it's just, it feels so good, and it's great coming out of this episode, very similar to how I was coming out a couple weeks ago. If Leo lived or died, I was 50-50 on it. Sure, last week I said I was a little more like 70-30 just because he seemed to want to live, so I was hoping he would, so I'm very happy that he did. But it's interesting how this show has constantly given me different opinions of, if they went this way, that'd be great, but if they went this way, it would be just as good. Not many shows can get that right, where a 50-50 split, it doesn't feel like either one of those would feel like weaker writing, but rather it'd be great. So you give me a season 2, I'll watch it. I imagine it'd be more slice of life. I'm not saying they couldn't write more drama, but it's hard to imagine drama topping what we got at the end of this season. But in terms of, comparing how he helped each and one of the generals and even the queen herself, I think there's very much different slice of life adventures he could go about it. It would be interesting to see the humanity side, deal with their former hero, and him now working with demons and the type of, we always knew he was a demon sort of mentality that would pop up, right? This is definitely one of the most pleasant surprises in the fantasy anime department that I've seen in some time. I think it was an open and closed show that knew exactly what it wanted to be. Voice actors hit it out of the park. I love the color palette and the character designs. I was actually surprised probably the most out of probably anime that I've watched this year. This is probably one of the best examples of subverting character designs that I've seen in this genre, because from Leo's hero design to the generals, like you could argue the queen herself was pretty typical, but I like how they subverted just from what you thought they were going to be at first glance into becoming such great characters. And from the backgrounds and everything, I mean, the fact that I was able to piece that, this very old-looking world actually was a post-apocalyptic world just because of how they detailed the backgrounds. A lot of great details. There was some attention to detail you don't typically see in shows like these that, honestly, it's hard not to recommend this show to so many different people. And we'll wait and see, I guess. I could leave it very happy, but if they give us more, I'm going to be up here watching and talking about it. So thoughts if you have any. What did you think of the ending? Do you want to see a season 2? Are you good with leaving it off here? Let me know down below. Leave a like if you enjoyed and subscribe if you're new around here. Till next time, everyone, please take care and have a good one.